Good afternoon, Professor. My name is Desmond Fraser. My task was to give a literary criticism and analysis of the short play Trifles. This play was written by Susan Glaspell. Susan Glaspell was a local color author, a journalist at first by profession, before she went into fiction writing. Susan attended Drake University, where she earned a PhD in philosophy. Susan, as a journalist, pursued short stories about crime and violence. Trifles was the first story she actually wrote. She was actually inspired by a real life story that was covering a farmer who was murdered by his wife in Indiana, Ohio, during her career as a journalist. Trifle is one of those historical fiction plays that the storyline that was actually written is based upon true events and then dramatized. Thus the reason for me choosing to do my research on this piece. Not only is Trifles rich in history, being the recording of an actual event, but there is also a lot of historical awareness and culture that this short plays bring out. My research led me to the late 1800s to early 1900s. This involved the trends, the norms, and culture of society during this period. This information allows me to better understand the play and the understanding of the frustration of the character that led her to commit such a heinous act. Beside the act that was committed, the research backed by the play shed light on the little value that was placed on women by men during that era. The struggle has been real. From the onset of the play to the end, the women were treated with very little respect. They were intimidated by the presence of the men to the point that where the play started in the kitchen, you could see where the females take their place to the side of the kitchen. And even when the men asked them to come over to the fireplace to be warmed up, they told them that it was okay for them to stand on the side based on the fact that they really knew their place and they did not want to go where the men were having their conversation out of maybe respect, or just know that this is what the men were expecting. Now, women were seen as housewives, responsible only for taking care of the house, raising a family, cook the meals, clean, and everything else around the house. However, on a larger scale, they were not protected from domestic violence. They were not allowed to vote, and they had little or no opinion on any subject matter that men were engaged in. And to top it all off, their opinion were seen as trifles, and thus the name of the short play, which was really, things of little importance or things that are insignificant. Society had played an integral role on how people at times are treated. There has been a constant battle to bridge the gap between culture and present norms. Trifles is a positive influence on the growth and development of a society and a barrier breaker for women's suffrage. Through struggles and perseverance over a period of time, women has evolved from being housewives and having limited voice to becoming a part of government, presidents and CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies, and even a period after was being able to serve in the military. Trifles also shows a psychological side in that when someone's back is against the wall they can resort to drastic measures. And this is in essence what the story depicts from the time, from who the wife used to be to what she has become. And during the process of what she has become, what she has adopted or birthed, what becomes an integral part of her life, and her sewing and her taking care of her home, which later on realized that that was dropped off. She really didn't take care of that because she was basically getting the life sucked out of her. She was stifled by what was happening to her. Now, several symbolic elements in the play, also understood by the people of no significance, quote unquote, the women were also present. As I said, her broken jam bottle represents her brokenness. Her quilt she was stitching shows she was agitated or confused. Her bird reminded her of when she used to sing and was her only companion because of the lack of children. And the cage represents the lack of freedom and breaking free. Now, the death of her bird proves everything was taken from her, and that was her boiling point. She thought she had nothing left, and she basically hated her husband for what has happened to her. And thus, the commitment, the committing of the murder. The analyzing of literature can bring about new meaning and awareness of the purpose and motive of writing. All words and actions sometimes have a deeper meaning. Therefore, it is important that literary criticism and analysis takes an in-depth approach when assessing literature, so that the true meaning of literature can come to light. People can have a better understanding, and by doing deep assessment, it can reveal so much about history, about culture, about even the place that a particular incident takes place. Thank you very much.